Support for this podcast comes from the patrons at patreon.com/FMLFPL. Okay! Welcome to FMLFPL Milan.
This is Walsh.
So we said that there wasn't going to be a pod this week. Our bad. There's actually a pod this week. You're listening right now. And then there's no Patreon pod or live stream this week. No Monday pod next week. And then we'll be back for Patreon pod and live stream on the 14th and 15th. So that's the actual schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, you know,
fake too.
Classic game week 4 or whatever, game week 3 international break here. Every year it seems like it's tradition.
And how many years in a row do we DM each other and say, like, what do we do again during international break? Every single year.
Yeah. We need
without question.
We need a secretary to tell us what we do.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, you're doing this week. It's like, oh, thanks, Susan. Like, let's fucking go.
So
let's pull up Team Walsh here.
Another game week in the books.
Look at that. 85.
81. Yeah.
81 with
another week, another hit. You coaxed me into bench boosting. / you just said it once and I was immediately like, yeah, great. Let's do it.
I suggested it into the wind and you were like, oh, that's the best idea I've ever heard.
Yeah. Yeah, I got 14 on it. It's fine. Yeah, it's, I think,
totally fine.
Pretty fine today. I think generally we sort of talk about kind of between, right, 12 and 20 is sort of what you're looking for from bench boost.
Yeah. Your 4 worst players. Roughly.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest reason why I did it was mainly to get Ollie in, I think.
Ollie and Udogs were the good fixtures, and the other two were just playing.
Yeah, Udogs versus Henry was razor close to me, which I was going to start. And I initially had Henry, and then I switched to Udogs midweek. And then towards the end of the week, I was like, I want the home fixture. I'm going to go with Henry. But yeah, with Watkins, right? I mean, we'll get onto that game, but that didn't work out.
No.
To say the least. The biggest tilter for me of the game week by a large margin was I had to miss the last like 15 minutes of the big Saturday slate because I had to go to gymnastics for a Cute Boy Classic. Yeah, Cute Boy. Turner got a yellow card, time-wasting yellow card, like, you know, in stoppage time or something. It went from it was a -4 yellow card from 9 to 5. So, you know, that
Max
if I had 4
no
extra,
bones.
yeah, I mean, if I was sitting on here saying I got 18, I'd be like, wow, okay, I did the thing. That
really worked. Yeah.
Didn't do the thing. And also, you know, I mean, Saliba, I wasn't sitting there thinking, you know, that's a 0%er. I was like, home United, I was like, this could easily be a clean. This could easily be a 1-0. And, you know, it was kind of close, but.
Yeah, man, they had one good chance and Rashford scored it.
Yeah, but there it is, you know. Pretty standard. Pretty much everyone seemed to have gotten the same points. Like, it seemed like every mid that everyone owned kind of like single returned.
Yeah.
Across the board for the most part, except for, you know, I guess like Raz, who, you know, we both have. But it seemed like a lot of people got pretty similar scores.
And I just feel like most of the scores I saw on Discord were between 70 and 80 something, like low 80s. Like, most people scored the same points unless you had, you know, one of the big haulers. I mean, I was very close to having a nightmare. You know, I got a Mo tap in, a very late Bumo goal for both those that have 8. And those are my only returners outside Holland. I mean, Saka's is whatever. Everyone has them. But, like, you know.
Yeah, and you had 4 cards.
For me to barely, you know, suffer in a week where, you know, Rashford, Matto, Matomo, Foden, you know, Odegaard, Alvarez, Doggy, like all of these guys returned and I have none of them. I'm just like totally happy with this week. Like very fine with this, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Bumo just keeps doing it. Crazy.
He's just such a ridiculously good pick. Yeah. He's
great, consistent player so far. He's averaging like 8 points a game through the first 4. Yeah.
Yep.
Can't ask for anything more.
I know. I fucking should have started with him, but, you know, made up for it, whatever. League updates. 3 Mug League Prize League leaders for September after, just one game week. Got Blake Matthew, aka Yank FC, 106 points. He bench boosted. You are not the only bench booster. Second place also bench boosted Hannes Bjartmar Jonsson, aka Diogo J and Silent Bob. Great name. Also bench boosted. And then Jacob Jamieson, aka the Risley Bears, in third place. He wildcarded, no bench boost, still got like 102 points or something. Got Son and Alvarez on wildcard. It's fucking free points.
Easy ass game, man.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you get the out of position Spurs midfielder on an attacking team? It's just so obvious.
Yeah.
And then public league leader Joseph Samsota. Yeah, I'm sorry, Nick Jackson. I think he was there last time too. Should we just start with Spurs? I mean,
sure.
We were DMing a little bit on the side about that. It was just like, okay, yeah, well, Rich is out, but it's still just Son at striker and still a ridiculously attacking team. Most obvious pick, right? I mean, he's just got to come in, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, a few things on this one, right? The Burnley game and the Burnley fixture is the most, in a lab for Son to get points at striker you could possibly imagine. I mean, you have bad players on a team that presses high with a high line, and again, all the players are bad. So, that there was so much space for Son, throughout the game, and he found it. In a large, broad scale, Son playing striker, automatic. I mean, it looks like it's just going to be automatic. He's, we were kind of talking more about Rich and what he gives and what he takes away when he plays. What Son will, maybe lack a little bit in some stylistic build-up in the way that they can kind of move the ball forward. He knows where the back of the net is. He knows how to score. And, we've been seeing him, get a lot of shots blocked and, maybe a little bit slower than he was a couple of years ago, like we remember. But this is still a player that, can still score 20 goals if you
don't really lose finishing historically. Like that's not like a skill you lose. You lose other things. You lose maybe the ability to get shots off. You obviously lose athleticism, but you don't really lose the finishing, and he has that.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's a little bit of both, though, because if you lose the ability to get shots off, then you don't have the opportunity to finish.
You take less advantage of your finishing. But players tend to also get better shots as they age, which is kind of an interesting thing. Like they are smarter. Movement, they take less bad shots. Yeah, they have movement, they have better reading, etc. So, I mean, all of these things are just like, yes, Son.
Yeah.
And he might be on pens, too.
I think he would be. I think he is on pens. I mean, I think that what he said was pretty telling to me that it would be Son, Captain Son on pens. So, yeah, I mean, he seems just like Rich seemed before a ball was kicked, an obvious pick, right? This is a Spurs midfielder playing striker in a very attacking team in a system that, is theoretically supposed to get the 9 chances, right?
Yeah.
I think the home Sheffield United fixture, though, is a little bit, bad for Son because I think this is to me more Maddo because they're going to play with 3 center backs and there's going to be no space. And just like Burnley, all the players are bad, but there's going to be no space. And, this is a game where I think Son will really struggle because they're going to have at least 2 guys on him the whole time. And he's going to just be a decoy
It's going to be interesting to see how he functions in this, like, you have 3 guys up your ass the entire 90 kind of position that he's not used to. Because even when he was playing with Kane, like he was always in space, right? It was like Kane occupying, he comes into space, gets a shot free at the top of the box or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I agree with you that it's less of a, Son banker, but I don't really know what he's going to look like because I don't think we've ever seen him play this kind of role. Against this kind of team. Yeah.
We haven't. We've never really seen it. There have been very, very, very few little one-off games where he's played striker I don't even know about start. I mean, when Kane was hurt, maybe there were some games like a long time ago.
Or like 4-4-2. It's like, he's, I guess, a second striker, like kind of stuff like that. But not like this. Not like a 4-2-3-1 kind of thing where he's everything or 4-4. I don't whatever you want to call it, where he's just the center focal point of all the shit. That I can't remember that. I can't remember him playing that kind of position. Back to goal. But yeah, to your point, I looked it up because I was watching the Spurs Burnley highlights, and I was like, "What is Burnley doing? Like, what is Company up to right now?"
That's exactly how they play it every game.
Yeah, and
all year.
They're fourth highest defensive line in the league so far this season. Yeah. It goes Arsenal, Brighton, Man City, Burnley. Like that's insane. And just to your point, Sheffield is the third lowest or deepest, I should say, back line. It goes NFO, then West Ham, then Sheffield.
Yeah, I mean, I would be really just completely floored, surprised, and shocked if Son, against 3 center backs and 2 deep, compact blocks, is able to kind of, fucking go crazy running around and getting like huge chances. I mean, I think he's going to get frustrated. I would be. I think this is, to me, like the goals against this kind of team, to me, come from edge of the box, maybe 1-2s and shit like that. And I just don't know we're used to seeing Son do that on the wing, but centrally, I mean, how is he going to play? We don't know. I'm
definitely not used to it, but at the same time, it to say I'd be surprised is way overstating. I mean, this team is awful. Like, this team is conceding big chances to Decore and Danjuma and fucking, Taiwo and, everyone scores against them. It doesn't really matter. And Son is better than all of those players. And, so we'll see. But I mean, X50s is the real question is like, do we want Son now or do we wait until after Arsenal and Liverpool fixtures? Because that's who he has after Sheffield and get him in game week 8. And then Alan Harley said, Saka or Rashford or Bruno, which do we fuck off to get Son on our teams?
Yeah, I don't think waiting makes sense because this, again, to me, I think Son is very similar to me, a little bit like Rashford, where the bad fixtures are good and the good fixtures are kind of bad.
I'm totally with you. Yeah.
So I mean, at Arsenal and home Liverpool are obviously bad, but those are both, could easily bang on the counter. And then, so I think you just want to get him now because as much as I'm trying, putting some cold water on Sheffield a little bit, maybe wolf in sheep's clothing after we just watched him bang a hat trick against Burnley, does he have a hat trick in that game? That's going to play out very differently to me. But they still should win heavily. It's not like there's going to be a 1-1. I mean,
right. It's like we don't expect a hat trick, but the likelihood of a return, I mean, it's high. I still expect them to score 2 or 3 goals and him to be involved. And then, I mean, he's scored plenty of goals against, Arsenal, Liverpool, all the top teams over his career, countering and whatnot. Yeah. And that should be, still kind of easy for him to get space in those games, even though tough games.
Yeah, I mean, and he's also the best cap this week. I mean, I think him and Matt are 1A.
I already brought him in.
Oh, hey, spoiler alert. It's
alert.
1A and 1B with him and Matto this week for captaincy to me.
The thing that I was looking at though is like, because I did Saka to Son, I had money in the bank. It was just like, man, I don't know how good I feel about getting rid of Saka before our away Everton. I mean, Everton are fucking atrocious. Like the Dyche being defensive thing, like that is years old. Like that is not who Dyche is anymore. Not how they play anymore.
Yeah.
So that could kill me. I mean, Saka could triple return, and I think is also a captain shot this week, but. I just felt like this is ridiculous. I did the move like pretty much immediately, and I was just like, this is just really stupid. Shouldn't be playing this position. Guy I can confidently hold. The other side of Arsenal, Liverpool, I mean, he's at Luton, home, Fulham. Right? And I'm just like, I just know I'm going to want him immediately and try and exploit that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we can come to that other question, like Saka, whatever. I mean, the timing is very awkward right now because, like you said, Saka plays Everton, but then it's terrible. I mean, Spurs at Bournemouth, City, Chelsea. Like, I mean, I don't know if you listened to the fire or the whatever the fucking.
I just like got back and I haven't had time to listen to anything yet.
Yeah, Nate was just like, Saka's playing really badly. And I don't want him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I was like, whoa, okay. I mean, when he's saying that, and
his stats are good, but I didn't expect to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. Just, not taking his man on. I mean, I'm trying to put what he was saying in a nutshell, but just essentially not taking his man on, looks really not confident, making a lot of back passes, easy passes,
right.
And
missing sitters against Man United.
Yeah, I mean, he's been missing good chances. I mean, Saka's an interesting. He's just like not getting central very much. And this was the first game with White playing at fullback, and there were a few little moments of passages where White got overloaded or overlapped, and Saka was coming inside a little bit. Overall though, he had the big chance, but it was a header, right? Oh no!
Against Man United,
that was the one
he on his fucking left foot from the
he just passed
spot.
It directly to the goalie instead of scoring.
He just handed it to Onana basically.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna, he got the corner kick, bullshit, whatever, right? But he gets the bullshit because he's on all the avenues. So he's never going to be a bad pick as long as he's fit and starting.
Exactly.
Is he gonna be, blowing up? Doesn't look like it. He doesn't look good. I don't have an issue getting rid of him, for this little mini run. And, I think that's fine. But, I think the Bruno thing was more concerning to me because, I think to me it was exactly what we were talking about him going completely invisible FPL wise against good teams. He was just playing midfield. He was playing like
tracking back, making tackles.
He wasn't even really aiding. He was just like 6.5ing, doing everything in the middle third. And, to me, when I see that, you have to bench him. He's not start every week. He's not start, that's like starting Eze every week. You hope for a pen. That's it, but, it's sure, maybe I'm making too big of a deal off of one game, but that's the only information we have. And it's not just one game because this is historically something that we've talked about with Bruno, year on year of just, when they're playing a good team, he's just not doing all the FPL things that you want. So that's also awkward though, because he has a tough game this week. You could talk to me about Brighton's, how they play and, Bruno should get blah, blah, blah. Fine. But Brighton's still better than Man United. I expect Brighton to win. They're at home at the Amex. Like they're just better. So they should win the game. And it's going to be a hard game for Man United. So I don't expect Bruno to do much.
No, Man United's home. So that makes it a little better.
A little better, yeah. But then, there's Burnley. That's amazing. And then it's Palace at home, which, it's a tough defensive fixture, a tough attacking fixture, but that's the kind of game that Bruno's going to be living in the final third. So
same with Brentford at home after that, and then at Sheffield, right? So it's like, ultimately what you're saying is what I also agree with, which is that between Saka and Bruno, I just felt way better about holding Bruno in the short, medium term.
Yeah, for the next 4 or 5.
This week, Saka might eat me alive.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, looking at the next 4 or 5, I think that's where you end up on that. But, Bruno just I don't know. It's just Man United are a fucking mess. So
what about Rashford?
That's something else. I mean, Rashford just looks like a rock solid hold to me. Like he played in his position.
Agree. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he played in his position for 2 games and he returned well in both of them. Højlund, he looks like he's just everything Martial is on a good day, kind of, in terms of he just takes men and pulls men around and he holds up and he's bigger than Martial. So he's a little bit, more physically robust there. But the hold up with him, I can just see that working really well with Rashford, as they continue to build up more of an understanding. And I think Rashford is one of the best picks in the game. I think he should probably be in more teams than he is. He's a little bit of a slow start, right? But, he's got a brace is coming really soon. I mean, at Burnley is going to be silly. I think that, we watched Son hat trick. That's right. I mean, that's the kind of game Rashford hat tricks in.
Yeah, so. I mean, I'm happy to hear you say this because I just couldn't agree more. I was seeing the exact same things at Rashford and the same things out of Højlund. I mean, I don't think he's Martial on a good day. I think he's what Wout Weghorst fucking jerks off to in his fucking morning wood, and that he wishes he was ever that athletic. And when you think back to last year, I mean, obviously Wout's like a meme. He doesn't score ever, and he's terrible. But at the same time, he started every game, I feel like, in that Rashford good run. Like literally every game.
Yeah, started every game, never scored.
Never scored ever, but guess what? He facilitated everything. Yeah. He just was a big body that they could send it long to. He was a big body to hold up, lay it off to. And in like 20 minutes, Højlund did that like multiple times already against Arsenal, who are great. So, yeah, I think the presence of Højlund will make Rashford a better pick. I agree with you. I'm concerned about Bruno, but I'll probably hold him. But, yeah, between the two, I'm like, or between the three, if you include Saka, I'm much more afraid of Rashford than either of the other two. I mean, like,
definitely.
Rashford to me, and I didn't feel like this game week 1, which is why I started with Bruno, obviously, but right now, all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, now I feel kind of exposed without Rashford. Like, even home Brighton, I'm like, that's great for Rashford. That's great for Rashford.
Yeah,
this isn't a team who keeps cleans. They don't have any defensive mids. Their defenders are mediocre at best. Like, this is perfect.
The
Rashford
next
game.
two are really good for Rashford. And then I think home Palace, home Brentford are going to be tough for him. At Sheffield could be tough for him. But yeah, these next two look really good.
It's just hard. It's like, do I hit to Rashford? Am I wildcarding this week? And like, no, probably not.
Yeah.
But I'm scared. I'm definitely scared with no Rash.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's pretty much that. You're good.
Oh, no, I was just going to say the other thing is that I guess it's twofold. It's like, how will the teams who are not normally in the Champions League deal with Champions League rotation? That's mostly Newcastle, Man United, and Arsenal, right? They're not normally there. And that this all starts after game week 5. And then how will the teams who are not normally in the Europa or the Conference League deal with that rotation? That's Brighton, Villa, Liverpool, West Ham, right? From a fantasy perspective, most of them we don't have to worry about too much right now. But in the case of Man United, we just listed their fixtures, and Newcastle are about to have a really good fixture run as well. Don't really know, So it's one of those tough things where in a dream world, you can like wait and see, right? And just be like, well, give me 4 weeks of Champions League and then I'll figure it out. But in the case with like a Rashford, like you don't have time to wait. Or even like a Newcastle, like you don't really have time to wait because you want to take advantage of Sheffield, Burnley, West Ham, Palace, Wolves or whatever. So it's also like a bit of a leap of faith right now, which is like kind of an interesting spot, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I don't really want to, go like completely, how bad man you are, Ten Hogs or what's he doing? It's kind of,
they're fine.
It's kind of tiresome.
I mean, the thing with them that they said on Double Pivot, and I agree, is like it all depends on what your priors were going into the season, right? There are some Man United fans who are like, we finished 3rd. And we spent 150 million. We should be better. We should be challenging for a title. Or fans who realistically thought they were ever in a title race last season, which obviously they were never. They're disappointed right now. But then there were other people who are like, well, they played like the 6th or 7th best team in the league and got lucky to finish 3rd, and everything's fine because they're fine.
Yeah, they're 7th. They're probably the 7th best team in the league,
and that's
I'm sure they'll
fine.
finish around
They're
there.
young and they're growing, and they'll spend more money next year, and everything's fine. But it depends where you start from. I think if you think they're fucked or not or whatever.
Yeah, they're just bad. I mean, they look bad. They've looked bad every game. I mean, you can't escape that fact. And they've had some very easy games.
They're not bad. There's a lot of good teams and there's a lot of bad teams. And so I want them against the bad teams. I don't want them against the good teams for the most part, I think is like really, where I'm at. I mean, they're the 6th to 8th best team probably.
Yeah.
Unless Højlund makes them better, which could happen. Who knows?
Their defense is a bigger issue, I think, than you're letting on, though. I mean,
Their
as they currently sit right now, it's not a problem. It's catastrophe. So, they are fair. Probably closer to the 10th right now with the players they have available. They're probably closer to 10th than 6th. And
everyone thought we were insane and biased for not going Shaw game week 1, and yet here we are.
Shaw, fucking everyone and their dog with Onana. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Onana too. And we're just like, they're bad.
Yeah. I did want to. I just circle back to Spurs for a minute. I know we talk about them, but I mean, we didn't touch on the BJ signing.
Go ahead. What do you think about it?
I mean, I don't really rate him, but at the same time, you know, my biggest issue with him is just I don't know how like technically good he is. You know, we've seen him really just run in straight lines for much of the year last year.
The entire year.
Basically, right? But he does give them, you know, I mean, I can still see him, you know, potentially working, you know, on the right wing and, you know, getting Kulusevski out of there. You know, who knows what they're going to do with that. But, you know, putting him over there on the right with Son central, I mean, it just feels like, I didn't watch any of Celtic or anything, but, you know, this just seems like a team that's going to keep the ball on the ground a lot. Yeah. And, you know, that could work really well for Son too, because, you know, then you're not asking him to do things that he's bad at. And they do have enough progression, you know, in the middle of the pitch to me.
For
like
sure.
With Basuma and shit. And I mean,
Dogs and Porro have been so good.
Yeah, Dogs and Porro
right?
are really
they're
helpful
legit
there.
good.
And Sar's been good. So, I mean, dude, Brennan Johnson's 5'9".
I know.
He's 5'9". It's ridiculously cheap. So, you know, I mean, we need to see. We need to watch him settle. I mean, he's really cheap, and, you know, he could be a pick, you know, at some point this year. I think we just shouldn't forget about him, kind of.
Yeah, it's really like a scouting transfer, which I think inherently is more risky, right? We've learned that over the Moneyball years of the world, that just relying on tools and scouting is more risky. But at the same time, I mean, you can't definitively say he's a bad transfer, because like you said, I mean, he's never done anything like this on any team he's ever played on. Been on an actual good possession team who have the ball in the final third the whole time.
With good players around him.
Right? Yeah. And so it's definitely interesting. I think it's also just good for Son positionally. It's another winger, right? We don't need to put Son at wing. We can keep Son at striker shout.
Yeah.
Right? All of a sudden they have depth at wing, and, you know, that's good for him too.
And that's the other thing I was thinking too, more with Son. And I would like to see Kulusevski on the left, just to see for a game or two, just like, what does it look like? You know, what do you do? You know, granted, he's obviously the most one-footed player in the world, but, you know, when he's going that way, because like something I was like in watching Ollie so closely every game and just seeing like how bad he is now for FPL, because instead of Diaby like being the guy that's like helping and get more, it's just like everything's not funneling towards him, and everyone's getting in his way. Whether it's Bailey, which we have seen in the past, you know, get in his way. Now Diaby
basically stole the best chance of the game from Ollie,
or even like McGinn now is getting but like he's getting lost now, Ollie, where he used to be like the only guy, and, you know, he was finding the space because there was space, and he would drop back, cut in, go back post, near post, whatever. Like with Son, you know, I mean, the Brennan Johnson, it's just like more shit that's he's never going to get his way. You know, there's no one is going to get in Son's way when he's playing striker, which for him, you know, he is good at finding the spaces in the box. You know, he's really good at that. So, you know, it's just more things seem to be adding up, you know, and looking good there for me with him, just like long term over the course of the season.
It's 4 games in the season, so you can't go too crazy, but Ange seems great. And like, he's already done amazing things with players who we thought were maybe done, right? Like Basuma played no minutes and was just like, I guess he's a flop last season.
Yeah, he's getting
just good.
He's getting
and
back
Porro,
to when he was at his
like,
best.
You and me are like, he can never play in a back four. He's not really a fullback. He's basically a winger. He's just a good fullback now. He's just playing really well. I mean, not defensively, but he's doing the inverting. He's passing. He's creating. Right?
It's the one time he had to play defense in the Burnley game. It was just like, there's a goal.
It's just free goal. Yeah,
but it's like the center circle.
You know what I'm saying, though. It seems like you have a good coach on your hands. So, like, you know, a little bit of magic for Brennan. I don't know. It could happen. Not my favorite player, but it could happen.
No, not my favorite. But again, it is also, you know, he's still also young. You know, I mean, you could tell me, you know, he is really good. You know, he just had to do this instead of that, and I'd be okay. I'm like, let's see it. You know, so interesting one.
I don't know shit. You know, especially when it's easy to scout a player who's just like, this guy played striker at this mid-table team, and he's going here. I'm like, oh, here's his numbers. Here's what he does. Here's how many shots. It's like, it's easy. It's hard as fuck when Brennan Johnson's like the things he's best at on like FBref are like passes blocked and tracking back because he plays for fucking Nottingham Forest. He's basically a fullback.
Yeah. It's like, are you Dan James? Like in
the
exactly. Butterfly meme?
It's like, and like you said, very accurately, all we've seen him do for a year is just sprint in a straight line.
Yeah. All right. What else we got going today?
Chelsea. I mean, RJ just said Chelsea. What the fuck? Brett said, Brett coming in harsh. He said, when does the FPL community come to the realization that until Chelsea shows consistency, we should all steer clear of attacking assets? Ray said, are we committed to rolling out 3 Chelsea every week because of the fixtures, or do we move on? Are you panicking with your Chelsea assets right now?
I couldn't be further away from panicking. I mean, this is just hold after Burnley, get rid of everybody. I mean, that's been very clear, very evident. The performance was fine. I mean, the performance was 3-1 win. The biggest issue is, you know, I have been very much in this camp before preseason, like with Nick Jackson, is who is this fucking kid? Like, he's an insane kid. And he is missing a sitter a game. So he might miss a sitter a game for 4 more games, and this was just the worst thing ever. Or he doesn't, and he taps them in, you know, and he has a couple braces here, right? I mean, he could have braced every single game this year. Like he has had chances commensurate with a brace every game this year, and he has 1 goal. I mean, this could be the player he is all year because he's freaking out and he's a kid and he's learning the ropes. Again, though, you know, Bournemouth, Villa at home, which, you know, suddenly doesn't look iffy like it did a couple weeks ago. Fulham, Burnley, like these are just good fixtures, all good, you know, roll them out, everything's fine. I mean, having double defense, though, I think is not good because, you know,
even 3 that, aways I'm like, I don't know.
I mean, it's 3 aways and 4, and they switch off, like they have clear breakdowns in communication repeatedly during games. Whether it's Caicedo or Till or someone pushes or Disasi. Yeah, like Disasi goes on an adventure and then there's space, or Chilwell's caught out and the guy Gallagher's not covered. Like they are a little bit all over the show throughout all 90s. You know, they make up for it in these games against teams with so much less quality that it doesn't hurt them that much. But, you know, in terms of the cleans where you have to be perfect for 90, you know, I don't really envision that for them happening very often. So other than Chilwell,
it's a little Liverpool-y, not how they do it, but in the sense that like you're gonna get a big chance every game, the opponent, but most of the game Chelsea just have the ball and are just dominating, and so it's like you kind of almost just need like one big save or something, and the clean will be kept because, you know, their numbers are really good defensively. They're barely conceding anything, but like you said, it's like, oh, one moment, you know, Taiwo Megs Caicedo and Alonga's in, and they just score. And Bob is obviously terrible, so, you know, that doesn't help the case for the cleans.
It doesn't feel that way.
It doesn't feel that way, I agree. But Liverpool, even when they were keeping 20 cleans, never felt that way, really, to me. It was always like, oh my God, Allison made that 1v1 save. They could have scored, and it just happened every week, and they just cleaned every week. And that's kind of like what I'm feeling. But really, the real answer that we're both clearly in agreement is just like, just play your guys. Like, just don't overreact. Play your guys in the good fixtures. Hope the cleans come. Hope the goals come. And I don't think there's anything you can do differently, really. I think like panicking and going to Raz to Son or Nico to fucking, I don't even know who. Nico to Alvarez. I just like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Raz looked amazing again. The thing that I was thinking about with them that's so frustrating is that they're good. They have this like good fixture run, but I wish they had the good fixture run when Champions League was happening, because they don't have Champions League. And when Champions League happening, their fixtures suck and they play once a week, which is annoying.
I also wish Nkuku was fit because, oh my God. I just like the whole team would just be clicking so well if they had a superstar 10 instead of, you know, Carney or Enzo or Gallagher. And Enzo's great, but like put him deeper. Oh my God. It would just be insane. It would be insane.
Yeah, very not worried about Chelsea, very calm. And we'll hold for the next 4 games and then reassess, you know, likely getting rid of all of them.
Let's touch on captain shouts because we kind of both were talking about it before. I mean, D Silva talked to me about alternative cap options. So, Holland's away West Ham. This has kind of been our stance since I don't even know, fucking
postmortem.
Probably even earlier. I mean, a lot of the second half of last season.
But we were in and around the idea, but we didn't
talking
do it
about it. Yeah. And this is the kind of game where we maybe don't cap Holland, so there's a lot. I mean, there's Liverpool at Wolves.
There's no chance I'm captaining him.
Yeah, there's Liverpool at Wolves. There's Chelsea at Bournemouth. There's Son home Sheffield or Mato home Sheffield. I mean, Arsenal away Everton. I mean, there's a lot of picks you could go that are all obviously risky because it's still Holland and he's going to be capped 90% or something, but... Which one do you love?
Spurs. I mean, it's Matt or Son. I don't think it's close. I don't think anyone else is close.
Wow, really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's just by a million miles ahead of everywhere else. I mean, they attack all game. Sheffield are terrible. I expect a heavy defeat, and it's home. I mean, it has everything. Everything that I could possibly imagine or want in the fixture. I mean, I very much subscribe to, the three promoted sides are so much worse than the rest of the league.
They're incredibly bad.
So,
they're incredibly bad.
If they are away at a top attack, that is the lights start flashing. Who do I not have and why? Yeah. What excuse more than this fixture do I need to get them in my team? Do they have a good couple games afterwards? Bring them in. So yeah, I mean, I know, Everton are just as bad, eye test and numbers
incredibly
wise.
Bad.
I still put something in Goodison. I don't love that game, and I don't think Arsenal are playing well. I mean, they've been really disjointed all season.
I'm with you there.
They're getting more fitness, and obviously I expect Arsenal to win, but not to the same, resounding effect that I think Spurs will at home.
I also don't
Sheffield.
think and this is not news to anybody, it was all last year. There's no obvious Arsenal pick, I don't think. There's no Mato, there's no Son on the team. Yeah. That's just this is the guy who's just nailed on for goals or assists or whatever happens if they score.
Yeah. Yep.
But I think Liverpool at Wolves is really good too. But even with me owning Son and Mo, I'm on Captain Son Vice Mo.
Dude,
but I think for me it's between those two. I mean, it's not
about Liverpool. How long have we been watching the Premier League? International break, early kickoff Saturday.
Horrible.
What are you doing?
Stay away. Well, he's my vice. He's not my pick.
Okay, good. As he should be. That is, how many times have we seen that? Yep. Every time.
I know. Every the same fucking time,
Liverpool. Every time.
Mo is just ridiculous right now.
Yeah.
And that's 10 straight games.
He gets a return a game.
24 in his last 21 games.
Yeah. Good pick, good player.
Just
contractually obliged to return.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. But yeah, I think I was actually taking a look at this earlier also with the Sheffield and Wolves as those are the two I'm between for cap, and both their numbers are atrocious. Sheffield a little worse than Wolves, but not by a lot, not by a significant amount. But fixtures, and this was another thing that I was just kind of thinking about on the plane or whatever, is that we need to be mentally noting fixtures more than ever because there's such a large gap between the best teams and the bad teams this season, and especially those promoted teams, right? It's Wolves have already played Man U and Brighton, and then they had 2 games against mid-table teams or worse. But Sheffield haven't played
mid-table or worse.
Yeah, mid-table.
They just played us.
Yeah,
we're
mid-table. Yeah,
upper table. Upper mid.
Upper half.
Okay, we're upper middle class citizens here.
But Sheffield has played home Palace, at NFO, home Man City, obviously, and then home Everton. And their numbers are still worse. Basically the way I'm weighting it is a fucking boxing fight. I'm okay, yeah. Wolves have played 2, Sheffield have played 1 of the top 8-ish teams, and their numbers should therefore be better, and they're worse. So that's how I'm scoring it, because the gap again is just ridiculous. It's. Do they have the promoted teams combined? I think have 1 point, right? I mean, it was the draw against Everton. It's crazy.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Promoted teams combined have 1 point and negative 14.6 goal differential.
Is that good?
Like, is that good? Is what I'm trying to figure out here. Yeah, so I'm on Sonny. You're on Matt, or who do you have?
I don't have anyone yet. I'm waiting. I'm gonna be hitting, obviously, because it's a new game week. But I'm gonna wait.
You've hit every week, right?
Keep it going, baby.
I want you to hit every week, and I want you to have, and I want you to actually do well.
How do I hit when I'm wildcarding?
I'm
That's
desperate.
what I need to figure out.
Honestly, no wildcard this season. You can't break the streak. Cannot break the streak.
Don't wildcard. Dude, I'm hanging out with my homies around 2 mil. That's where I belong.
Who even needs wildcard when you get 2 free transfers every week? Fucking cash in the wildcard for something else. I don't know.
But yeah, I'm gonna bring in Son. My initial right now is Son, and I'm probably like looking at Taiwo for Ali and Saka, because Taiwo and Eze actually rotate really well for the next little window. So it lets me go like Eze, I can play home Fulham, home NFO, and I can play Taiwo. He's playing home Burnley, and then I can get him in for home Brentford, which is like, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Home Luton, game week 9 coming up. So
Taiwo's so good, man.
Yeah, he's been doing things anyway. So
he's gonna be why they stay up, I think.
Yeah, I could get Alvarez instead. I don't know if that's better, but
let's talk about Alvarez, because my big takeaway from that City game was just like Alvarez is just such a blind spot for us. Yeah, I just think there's no other way to put it. Like,
yeah, I agree.
It's something about the way that he plays. I think that you don't really watch and see high quality actions. You see like mediocre passing. You see him go missing for 45 minutes straight. You see low quality shots, but the volume's there. He's starting every game. He's getting shots. He's getting XG. He's creating shots. He's taking corners. He's taking free kicks. He's crossing nonstop. It's like he's just an incredible pick.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that we've missed out on it because Champions League starts so soon. And that was Ray's question is, what are your current thoughts on City assets with Champions League about to start?
Yeah, I mean, I agree on all of the above, and we were sort of getting away with it until he popped up with 14 against Fulham at home. But, he did have 2 returns and 3 before that, nothing to write home about. He also could have had more than 2 returns and 3 before that.
We kind of got away with it, like you said. I mean, he was part of a lot more stuff. I mean, if fucking Holland didn't miss a pen, he'd have another return. It's like,
Sure. Yeah. You got would have been an assist there. Yeah. I mean, he's just, I think we were just totally wrong on him, completely wrong in our analysis, completely wrong in just what we thought of him. Yeah. And he's a great pick. I mean, they low key still don't have a big squad, so no players playing every game and playing over 3,000 minutes, but it means something that, to me, like him and Foden. I mean, the game Foden missed was because he was shitting his brains out, allegedly, right?
That's
so,
Yep.
I mean, these are the players that he's counting on is with Kevin out is Foden, Alvarez, Holland, basically.
And now Jack's out too.
Yeah. And Jack's like touch and go, so, Doku came in, started his first game, Alvarez is just a great pick. He's 6'7", so even though they do have Champions League, they still have good fixtures for a little bit. And, I mean, it's City. So, every fixture's 2 goals a game, good enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I am like between him and Taiwo, maybe that's, I think the biggest issue if I got if I did do Alvarez, is like, when do I actually, start Eze? What do I do with Eze? No, I'd start him every week, but like with Eze and shit, I don't know. But maybe, Alvarez might just be such a no-brainer, and we've been so stupid not even talking about him in that way.
Yeah.
Which seems like I'm coming more to terms with that.
That's kind of how I feel. It's just like, we should have been on him. We weren't. And now we're just kind of making excuses to not get him.
Yeah.
The truth is, like, how's Champions League going to go? Like, I don't know. If anyone tells you that they do know, they're lying to your fucking face. And, you shouldn't trust them for anything. But we have no idea how the Champions is going to go. The squad's small, like you said. Clearly, Pep likes and trusts him in this position where, again, eye test, I think it's very easy to get tricked by the eye test sometimes and just be like, he's not playing well. He's not a midfielder. He's playing reverse out of position. All that is still true. And yet, he's getting 3.5 shots per game. He's second in XG. He's part of everything. He's drawing pens.
Yeah.
He's just an amazing bit.
Yeah, and I do think he's starting to get better playing with Haaland also. Which I think last year was something that just stuck really firmly in my mind of like, this is a mess. Like, he doesn't know what the fuck is happening, and he's like marking himself out of games or whatever. But yeah, it seems like now he's kind of just learning more of where Haaland likes to go and where the spaces are behind him, and coming into them and getting these some good chances, and he's trailing and he looks good. Yeah, he looks good. So, going through this, sort of talking me into getting him instead of Taiwo maybe makes more sense.
I think so. And, he was an unused sub 6 times last season, which is like very high for City attackers. Like for an example, Foden was only unused sub 1 time, which seems impossible.
Yeah.
So maybe you get an occasional 0 minute would be ideal. Obviously better than subbing on and playing 5 minutes and get an auto sub, and that's no big deal. That's good. But in every game, even their hard games coming up, right? It's away Arsenal, game week 8, and home Brighton in game week 9. And they could score 4 in either of those games. I mean, we saw what they did to Arsenal last season. Those were not close competitive games at all. Yeah. And Brighton is like... they can't keep it clean for their lives, so not that worried about that game either.
Yeah. No, all of that. They're the best team in the league. So, all of that tracks. And so maybe I'll just go with him and,
I like that.
See how that goes. And, maybe I bench Saka next week and at the Spurs game and play Eze or something. I can figure that out later, I guess.
Yeah.
So, Son and Alvarez seem good.
Yeah, good picks.
Not a good pick. Can't wait to not have him anymore.
The last group of questions before a bunch of other scattered ones is just Liverpool. Johnny D said Liverpool attacker picks. Jota was benched. Darwin missing big chances. Is Salah still the only one? El Clip, please talk extensively about Liverpool options. Could you rank a top 5? I don't know. That's a lot. That's a lot. And then Nahana said, is this time different with Darwin? Mo, we've talked so much about Mo. I don't think we need to talk more about Mo. The other guys are the interesting ones because, if they get minutes, we love them. Don't know about minutes, so don't love them.
How good
2 weeks ago, I was saying like Diaz and Jota, right? They should be in teams. No one's talking about them. No one has them. And now it's Darwin, right? I'm just like, he should be in teams. And who knows where I'll be 2 weeks from now. So it's just still a clusterfuck. It's really long story short, I think.
Yeah.
Anything else to add?
No. It's Diaz still looks like best minutes play.
Yeah.
Jota, Darwin, I don't know. Who fucking knows? I think the one thing we were talking about off air was the Europa League should be a real full B team. So whoever starts in the Europa League is like, nope, that he ain't it. So I think that should give us some pretty good intel.
That might change how we treat all these assets, right? They have the first Europa game is Thursday the 21st. Then they go to West Ham, or then they're home West Ham on Sunday. Like, I don't really see fucking world where, that he's starting, 6 to 8 of the same players, right? I mean, we don't, the thing that I said earlier still applies. We just don't know, but that's our guess, is that it will be a B team.
Well, something that we can, with a higher degree of certainty, not guess on is he's not playing any of these guys 3 games in a week when they get back from international break, which is exactly what they have. So the Wolves game will be a first team, obviously, unless if there are any fitness diddles.
Yeah, or
whoever plays, if anyone plays in if anyone plays in the Wolves game and the game on Thursday, they're not playing West Ham. So that's why I expect the West Ham Wolves games to be the first choice and the Thursday game to be 10 changes.
I hope so.
Endo,
that's what I want.
And Doak and fucking who the fuck knows? People I don't even Konsa, like fucking Shimcast, whatever.
Yeah.
Joe Gomez. I mean, maybe Joe Gomez he plays 3 in a week or something, or Matt. Who knows? But that's what I'm imagining.
Yeah, I hope so. And Darwin, if there was ever a world where he was going to get consistent minutes, I've said this. I mean, how many times have we thrown out best pick in the game all this season, Joel, Rich, or whoever the fuck? But yeah, I mean, he would be. Yeah, he would be fucking wild card, rip everyone out of my team just to get Darwin. I don't care. Yeah, I mean, people think he had a bad season last season, but even FPL wise, I mean, he got 100 points in 1,600 minutes. He got 100 points in less than half the season. He got 14 returns in 1,600 minutes. Even just from FPL. Not even talking about IRL at all. That's good. That's really good, especially for a fucking 7.4 player who's young and probably going to get better. So he's just, everything he does leads to FPL points. Chances in the box, winning every header, fucking getting behind, all that stuff just leads to points.
Yeah, but you can't get points when you're sitting on the bench, so.
Exactly.
Probably not a good
Or you can, in his case. You could just sub on against Newcastle and fuck them.
Sure.
All right, let's go. Let's rattle through these other questions. Josh said, do we need to talk about JWP? Next to our but traditional, but around our traditional wildcard time.
No. Next question.
He's getting so many fucking assistant bonus points.
I don't care.
We just don't really need glue guys this season.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. Next question.
Al said, is Archer the best pick in the game?
Obviously.
Another shout for best pick in the game.
He would be if there were more than 2 premiums in the game. He fucking hauled ass in his first start.
He looks great.
He's good. He's a good player. He's good. He's obviously not going to get a lot of chances.
That's the problem. He had 2 shots, 2 goals.
Yeah,
or 2 shots, a goal and assist,
whatever. Yeah, the rebound thing, right? I think it was. Yeah. But they played Everton, so they actually got to attack for a few minutes. They only play Everton one more time. The promoted teams. There's only 2 other ones, so usually he's going to be doing fucking nothing. Playing defense, but he's 4-5 striker. If you have him, great. If you don't have him, fucking gives a shit. But you don't need a 4-5 striker this year, so he's not the best pick in the game. So he's fine though.
Yep. Also, 5 subs really fucked a lot of these guys. Back in the day of 3 subs, there's so many more just do not play 0-minute merchants, and then he comes in and it's like, oh great, I have Archer first on the bench against Everton. But I feel like no one fucking plays 0 minutes anymore. It's so rare.
They have to be hurt.
Yeah, they basically have to be hurt or just shock, have the shits, whatever, and don't play. And it's just, it's Ferguson time, isn't it? Fucking Hattie, Merchant.
Yeah. No, it's not. What's next? Next question.
He's so good.
Yeah, it's great.
Maybe, again, he's another that I would put in that Darwin Liverpool category of maybe De Zerbi plays a B team in Europa. We don't know yet. And if that's the case, then Ferguson's a great pick. But don't know. Jeff, if you were to hit the wildcard button over the international break, what would that squad look like?
I mean, 3 City attackers pick themselves. 3 Spurs, Udog, Son, Maddo, Chelsea players, maybe a Liverpool guy, probably Rash. Probably would want Rash.
Probably Rash.
And then just whatever attacking defenders you can fit in.
Did you mention Chelsea guys?
Yeah, Chelsea guys.
Chelsea guys. Yeah. I probably wouldn't go Udogs. I still have like zero belief in this defense. I don't know.
I think so do I, but I don't believe in many defenses. And to me, it's to the point where you just want attacking guys. You know, that's it. And, you know, I think he's
if
pretty
that's
high
the
up
case,
there.
then everyone should have Purvis.
Yeah, I think Purvis is fine. You know, I mean, he's still doing winging stuff.
Yeah, he's a winger.
But yeah, I'm like kind of coming back around on Purvis just because of the landscape of the
lack of
league
cleans
right now. Yeah, like, you know. What about you?
Like
anything
that.
different?
No, I mean, I
just
don't
off
know.
the top of my head, yeah.
Yeah, same. I mean, I'd probably have Darwin. We've talked about like every other good pick in the game. I mean, I'd probably have Bumo. That's someone that you probably wouldn't have that I would.
Yeah.
You know, they still
could
have.
fit him in.
They still have, you know, at Newcastle's fine, then home Everton at NFO. You know, before at Man United, home Burnley. It's just like, I don't know. I just feel so safe holding him. What keeper do you think you'd go for? Fleck?
Yeah, I do probably think it would be Fleck.
Probably, right? He got saves.
I mean, Flecken and Areola would probably be the combo, and I would probably start Areola a lot. Flecken, like the other game, right, against Palace, kind of reminded you of like why Raya was so good. Like he makes 4 saves, gets a bonus point. I mean, gets 4 points.
In a 1-1.
Even in these games, in a 1-1, like even in the games where, you know, they're not really doing much, he's getting points. I mean, he's getting a save point almost every game. He's on 14 from 4. And yeah, I mean, Brenham, we're running towards the end, I think, and we could probably spend a lot of time on Brenham. We kind of been ignoring them on the pod, honestly, probably too much. But yeah, I think Flecken is still a solid pick there. What about you?
Yeah, probably. Clogs, could you rank these prominent mids, Matto, Phil, and Raz?
I think Pope is maybe interesting.
He's just so bad.
I know, but he got City and Liverpool out of the way.
That's true. I mean, their fixtures were low-key disgusting for cleans. Yeah. Home Villa, fine-ish. Then at City, home Liverpool, at Brighton. Yeah. I mean, that's as bad as it gets, right?
Yeah.
But
just like Brighton, you know, didn't keep one yet. You know, still don't have one.
Yeah, and
they
now
have
they have an insane run. So yeah, I think on like Thursday pod we'll talk maybe more about like maybe Newcastle are actually picks.
Yeah, he's 5'5". I mean, Newcastle also maybe might just be bad. And
actually, that was Pix' question. Actually, he said, I recall there being talk about looking at Newcastle picks. Do their last 2 games change your opinion on this?
Yeah, no, I mean they might just be found out. I mean, he's doing literally the same fucking shit with a couple of different players in it. You know, I mean, it's like, hi, I'm Edward. This is what I'm doing. It's game week 39. It's game week 40. It's game week 40. It's like, there was no off season. It's like, he went with Tyndall and they were just like fucking each other up the ass. Like, I don't know. It like didn't work all summer or whatever, because they do nothing just different. They do the exact same shit. So it could be a case of, you know, the other 19 managers actually were working in the off season and now Newcastle suck ass. I'm getting closer to that than, you know, oh yeah, good fixtures are going to start rolling teams again, because they have looked really bad other than, you know, maybe like half an hour against Villa. Yeah,
they also, I mean, this is the theme for me of the episode of like the European teams, right? They also have a thing where they have an insanely tough group. Who starts those games and who starts the Prem games? Because there's a world where Isak starts fucking Milan and then Callum just starts all these fucking games. And then he's like an unbelievable pick. Like I would bring him in over probably all the forwards that we've talked about. But we don't know.
Yeah, it looks like very, very scarily and eerily reminiscent to me also maybe of, you know, Western or something, where they're in a halfway house where he's just running them into the ground for 3 months and then they're fucked. I mean, Western kept going, so they kept having more games, but maybe whatever, a team that has done something like that where he's kind of playing the first team all the time and it's too many games and then then it's Christmas, and then it's Boxing Day, and then by the time it's February, it's like, oh my god,
and then Trips is hurt.
They're in 12th still. Like they're still in 10th.
Yeah.
They're still in 9th, like 12th, 13th. Yeah, it could be there's a stench is beginning to emanate from Newcastle's.
I agree with that. I mean, I still believe the fixtures are good enough that if you want to go Trips, probably starting game week 6, not really this week. I still think he'll get you points. And I still think there's something in the Isak Callum rotation, however we figure that out to work, where there's points there. I still think even someone like Lewis Hall, like fuck Burn, like Hall is actually skilled and can play left back. Like maybe there's something there. Yeah, where the fuck did he come from?
He's been chilling,
how many minutes did he play last season? Honestly, he played 600 minutes.
He's been there. He's fucking chilling, dude.
Oh my god, Eddie, come on, Eddie, come on.
Livermento, he's got 4 minutes to his name so far.
Like, I mean, it sounds crazy, but honestly, there's a world where Tripp starts the tough Champions League games and Livra plays in the Prem, and then he's a good pick. But we don't know any of this shit. Eddie's never been in the Champions League. Eddie's never been in the fucking any league. Hallmark said, do we take our Eze points and run? What do you think?
I mean, I was like panic stations during that game. I wasn't doing too well watching it, honestly. And then, he threw Mateta on. Things changed a little bit in the second half. It's... he got stamped, pen not called.
Dude, I mean, we're
in here. Yeah, it's one of those. I'm telling you, dude, there were literally 3 or 4 fouls on him in the first half that were not even, the whistle just wasn't blown. And he's just sitting on the ground after getting, hacked down. And the ref's just like, yeah, that's clean. It is horrible. The Wilf treatment. He's
the new Wilf. Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't complain because he's not a fucking pussy ass bitch like Wilf, but it's not. It's on. I think like the refs just like, I feel bad for them. Like no one can take the ball off him.
It's
like if he has the ball, it's either he passes it to a Palace player or he gets fouled. Those are the only outcomes.
He got fouled once, like by the books. He got fouled once against Wolves.
Watch that game and you tell me he got fouled once. Like that's all I can say.
I kind of want to rewatch the entire match and see.
It was unbelievable. I was losing my fucking mind, but. He's, as I've been saying, you have to be able to bench him. The points are going to be so clear. It was back to last season where we talked about it and we said the games where he scored his goals, they were against the bottom 8. Here we go, goal against Wolves. It's not get the points and run. It's at Villa, he's not going to score any points. At Man United, he's not going to score any points. At Newcastle, he's not going to score any points. Home Fulham, probably will score points. Home NFO, probably will score points. So... That's how you treat him. And if you don't have the team set up to do that, then you shouldn't have him in your team. But if you do, then you'll be all right. You just have to be able to do that.
Yeah, I low-key think he's still just a very good pick. I think that, like, again, like, very unlucky to not have multiple pens already this season. I think that balances itself out. I mean, unlucky to not have more than 1 goal this season with the amount of shots and chances.
We should have 2 pens.
We should have 2 pens. And
so if he had 13, 14 more points.
Imagine the landscape of FPL. I mean, people would be saying, Phil, Raz, Matto, or Eze. Who should I bring in this week? It wouldn't be, Eze out maybe, so that's still where I'm at. I still think he's a very, very good pick.
Yeah.
Another pick of yours, Grand Burglar. Watkins out. Fixtures are really good, but Villa have been bad. Or am I overreacting?
No, he's a terrible pick.
Why?
Actively
what
bad
has changed?
Pick.
What has changed? Well, what you talked about before, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the whole team is not funneling to him. Like, he's just one of the worst players on the team now. He's like a decoy. He just runs around and he gets his 1 fuck up a game. He gets his 1 big chance, but he's not getting the 4 that he requires to be a good FPL pick. He's getting 1, Right. And I mean, Diaby is just so much better than him. It's startling watching them play on the pitch together. And, he is just making space for Diaby. Everyone on the pitch knows Diaby's better, so Ollie's, again, he's not the guy anymore, and he's getting subbed every game now. It's like, I thought fitness was your thing, boy.
That's
like,
fun.
He's just playing 70 minutes a game. Like, he's Edward or something.
I remember in preseason, everyone being like, there's going to be more time. Like, Ollie's going to play 110 minutes a week. Is he a better pick?
Yeah.
Joke's on you.
Yeah,
he has to play minutes against Hibs in a 5-0 first leg.
Yeah, bad pick. Get rid.
His numbers are still so good. I feel bad for him.
I don't.
I feel bad for him. I'll skip this. I'm gonna skip some of these.
Yeah, let's get out of here, dude. We're pushing an hour. Do we have anything else we really need to hit on?
There's.
My wife just called me a liar because I told her it was gonna be a short one.
Come on, it's never a short one early season,
dude. IB, it's usually a short one. Hey guys, it won't be so
I
short.
think that's basically it. I think we can skip the rest of the questions. Let me slap asses. 4 new signups for Patreon. Good job by you. We got Simon, Dennis, Paul, Ormiston, Nick, and Neil Hughes. Oh, yes, baby. Get in there. I think that's it now.
Yeah,
I think that's
a wrap.
See
you in a couple weeks, dog.
Dude, it's pretty close to an hour. Honestly. That's pretty short for us.
Dude, come on.
Yeah, see you in a couple weeks. See you in a long time.
Weeks. Yeah, see you in a long time, baby.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow.
Check us out at FMLFPL.com. Twitter at FMLFPL, sportsbit.com/FML. Subscribe, rate,